everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaley Gray and I am making weekly videos every Friday. And today we're going to be talking about winter because it's January and it's really cold outside. But first, if you have not subscribed, please hit that red button below and turn on your post notifications. So winter, why talk about it? Well, I feel like we talk about environmental seasons all the time, but are we talking spiritually about the different seasons of life that we go through? Now, I've done a vlog on summer and fall already, so if you haven't watched those, I'll put the link below for you to watch as well. But on to winter. So personally, winter is not my favorite season, environmentally or spiritually, but it is a very important one. Currently, I'm living in the South. Well, I consider Oklahoma South. Some people say it's the Midwest, but it is south of Iowa and it's still cold in the winter, but it's just not as cold as living up north. Well, a few years ago, my dad came to visit me, and actually it was in January, and he asked me where my shovel was since I was living in a condo. And I was like, I don't own a shovel because it hasn't really snowed here enough for me to own a shovel. And if it does, you know, it's usually gone within 24 hours. And so I'm like, why take the extra space up, right? Which he thought was bizarre. But then the next winter, I happened to be visiting them and I got stuck in Iowa for an extra day because they got a foot of snow. And it felt like that foot of snow just appeared in the matter of hours. Now, mind you, I hadn't seen a foot of snow like this in like probably 5 years. And it was pretty, you know, but I normally just don't spend a lot of time out in the snow. Well, growing up, you know, I had brothers and they were the ones to always help my dad shovel, and they would even do it for some of our older neighbors on the block, and they, you know, just didn't want them to have to be able to go get out and do it. And so they usually got it done pretty fast. And well, what do you know? Both of my brothers weren't living at home, and you know, I didn't want my dad to have to do it alone, so all of a sudden, the words, "I'll help you, Dad," came out of my mouth, and they came out so fast, I was thinking, yeah, this is gonna be a piece of cake. I got this. Mind you, I haven't shoveled snow in years. Before this time, I can't honestly remember when the last time was. So after a few minutes of shoveling this heavy snow and the wind was blowing, I'm literally covered from head to toe in like keeping myself warm. All you can see are my eyes. I started to look around and I just saw how much needed to be done. And I wanted to tap out and say, somebody else come take my place, please. But I didn't want to quit. And so I saw my dad. He was in a different area because we had divided and conquered the sidewalks, and I just didn't have that same push and drive that I had when we were originally shoveling because we were right next to each other in the beginning. But sometimes in our personal winter season, you feel alone, like I did shoveling. You feel like maybe God isn't hearing your prayers. He's not speaking to you. He isn't opening up new doors. Winter, it can be kind of gloomy time of year, and it's, you know, pretty when the snow first comes down, but then you don't always see the sun. And then when the snow melts, it becomes kind of a pile of mush. And then the trees, they don't have leaves on them and nothing is bearing fruit. And so a lot of times it's so cold that you're stuck inside and you can't go anywhere and you get stir crazy. And I think we get stir crazy with God in our spiritual winter season because we're just ready to go, go, go. But in our winter season is where He is teaching us to rest. He wants to cover you with His love, which is kind of like grabbing a cozy blanket and curling up by the fire. During the winter, it's when you're existing on what was previously harvested. I remember helping my grandma in the garden, and when it was time to harvest all of the green beans, we just picked tons of them and then we canned them, and then we ate off of them pretty much all of the winter, spring, and summer months. But you know, it's hard to like wait on something when you expect things to happen, because here you are, you just went through this harvest season where you're reaping rewards, you're seeing everything that happened, and you know spring is coming around the corner because you plant new dreams. But winter, it's the season that most people, they don't want to live in. Now, my grandfather, he was a farmer, and the winter was a time that he would plan for the upcoming seasons. And I remember my dad telling me that snow was good for the soil because it was giving moisture to it, and it was helping it even when it truly just looked like snow was laying on top of it. And if it wasn't for those winter months, it wouldn't have given the soil time to rest, and then my grandfather's fields wouldn't have been ready to plant in the spring. And I feel like that's what God wants to do to us during the winter season. He's preparing us even when it doesn't look or feel like it. So I just want to encourage you, if you feel like you're in a winter season and you feel like God isn't hearing you, because I've totally had those feelings, and just know that He is. Just be patient and learn to rest in Him, because during the winter season is when He's placing things inside of your heart that will get you ready to plant for the spring. And like I said, personally, I'm not a fan of the winter seasons, only because I have felt alone, and when you feel alone, you have a tendency of shutting people out, kind of when you isolate yourself in the winter. And so we have to make sure that we're being strategic in our winter season to not look at it as a negative, but to look at it as a positive. We have to know that God has our best interests at heart. And even though your winter season might last longer than you would like it to, there is purpose for that season. So make sure you're taking advantage of what God is getting ready to do in you. Because the winter season, it won't last forever. But it's honestly one of the most important seasons that we have. And I hope that you feel encouraged by today's vlog, and I can't wait to see you all next Friday.